I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land of which I work and live, and recognise their continuing connection to land, water and community. I pay respect to elders past, present and emerging, and encourage everyone to do a whole lot of research if they've got any questions about where they need to vote yes in the upcoming referendum. As Leela Garawiri said at our state conference a couple of weeks ago, there's no excuse for voting no because you didn't do your research. We've got plenty of time to do the research. Please encourage all your colleagues, friends and family to do the same, to make sure they've got an informed vote when that important referendum comes around. Now, what we're going to do this morning is go through a number of items. What we might do too is the chat function. You're welcome to put your hand up and put a question in chat, but you're also welcome just to put your hand up and we'll have you demute yourself and ask a question as we go through this morning. Andrea's kindly going to be managing the slides. And what'll happen is if we've got particular links that we need to pop in the chat, that'll happen at the end. So if you can bear with us to the end, there'll be a number of items that'll be popped in the chat at the end. Again, my name's Andrew Knight for those who've just joined from Outdoors Victoria, and we've also got Andrea Vela here from Outdoors Victoria today as well. We've got a number of items to get through this morning. We'll touch on the Outdoors Victoria State Conference, which was just a couple of weeks ago. We've got a quick video to show you all. And then we've got, we'll talk a little bit about the National Outdoor Education Conference, which is coming to Victoria for the first time since 2007 in early December 2024. We'll then touch on what's the latest in the teacher time in lieu situation. Also get to the disability and inclusion in the outdoors and give you an update there on what's going on. We'll quickly mention the Come and Try Hubs activation to get a whole lot more younger Victorians active outdoors from particular parts of the community that aren't able to access the outdoors activities. And then we've got a bit of an update on the first meeting we've had with the new Minister for the Environment, Minister Stitt, who's also the Minister for Outdoor Learning. We'll touch on we'll get just amend that in a minute, but we'll touch on what's going on with alpine backcountry with what Dave Chitty just mentioned before. We've got some safety information there around weather advisory, and then mention what's going on with the Outdoor Education Innovation Hub, and then give you an update on the careers expos, and then provide some dates on the next online forum. So we'll get straight into it. Andrea, welcome those who've just joined us, and we'll get straight into the summary of what happened at our conference. We're just going to play with the sound for a minute. If not, we might just quickly show it anyway, Andrea, and you can see what we all got up to. Yeah, for sure.
Apologies for the technical difficulties. Can everyone listen now? Outdoors Victoria Conference is the largest annual outdoor sector conference in Australia. It provides an opportunity for exhibitors and people in the industry, an outdoor activity provider or an outdoor educator provider. So it's just basically a platform, a big platform for people to come together, network, and just connect in the sector.
We bring in some really unique presenters across the days, get it done in a tight format too, and still have plenty of time for a whole lot of networking and learning in the breakout sessions.
We choose to exhibit every year. I think we've been coming 5 or 6 years now, and every year it's just been really meaningful for us to really connect with new people in the industry. We're constantly meeting new guys, new schools, new companies. It's just really unique to have such a friendly and vibrant community to be able to talk on the stands together, and it's a great way for us to liaise with everyone. It's a really small industry, but fortunately a very friendly one as well. So very excited to be here.
But I think the Outdoor Victoria also represents outdoor education, and I've been an outdoor educator all my life, and it's an opportunity to learn more about what's working in this field, speak to people who might be doing similar work or new work, and get to know about it.
There are so many exhibitors and presenters that we can learn so much from. I'm hoping to gain various tips and tricks that I can use in the field when I'm with students, and also things that I can implement when I'm designing and facilitating programs.
The best thing that I get out of the conference each time I attend is the ability to re-evaluate our connection with the outdoors, and typically the way the keynotes are delivered or chosen. It's always an inspiring part to refresh ourselves, to re-engage and reimagine and rethink, and yeah, that's a big reason.
Outdoors Victoria Conference is a really warm environment. Everyone can be themselves. We want people to come along. They work very hard all year to be able to relax at the Outdoors Victoria Conference. And while you're relaxed, you usually take in a whole lot more great information and learnings from other wonderful people that come along. So hopefully everyone enjoyed that. If you weren't able to come to the conference, gives a bit of an idea of what we all get up to, and a whole lot of professional learning and networking. It's absolutely magic. So we'll probably provide you some dates with the next National Outdoor Education Conference that we're going to be hosting in Victoria for the first time since 2007. So please pop those dates in your diary. And it isn't a typo, it is December 2024. There is going to be a number of professional development sessions that we have over the next 18 months before we get to that particular National Outdoor Education Conference. So we'll keep you informed across this as well as through the newsletter. So if you can pass it on to your colleagues, there'll be a number of different professional development events coming up into the calendar. And we'll keep you in the loop on all of that. Thanks very much. Teacher time in lieu update. So we've obviously had the announcement that Minister Hutchins, after ourselves, Christian Venues Association and Australian Camps Association, have been working with the department and the Minister's office for the last 18 months on that particular challenge of implementing teacher time in lieu when it comes to camps. And there is that $130 million now available over the next 3 years for government schools to be able to take advantage of that when it comes to paying teachers for a portion of their time in lieu. Effectively, what now happens is that you've got, let's say, a teacher meeting the kids to head off on camp on Monday morning, let's say, at 8 a.m, and they're paid through until 4 p.m. Then from 4 p.m. through till 11 p.m. at night, there's still the time in lieu that has to be worked through with their senior leadership team or their principal. And then from 11 p.m. through to 7 a.m, they're paid an on-call rate, which is 50% of their hourly rate across that time. So it averages out at a minimum of $200. It could be a little bit higher depending on your seniority as a teacher going on camp. So at least there is now some financial compensation for that time. But there is still that gap between 4 p.m. and 11 p.m. that needs to be worked on by each school. And it is for the government schools. Of course, when it comes to independent schools and faith-based schools, they need to provide that individual workaround. There'll be, I'm sure, some of our professional development sessions on how there have been some principals that are working through this and have come up with particular solutions, and we'll hopefully learn from all of those great people. I'm also talking with Australian Camps Association and Christian Venues Association about likely sometime in Term 4 reaching to outdoor providers and potentially schools as well to learn on how is this actually going, and are there any pinch points with accessing that $130 million of funding for government schools? Let's just have a look in chat if there's any particular hands up or questions. Okay, I'm just scanning if there's any particular questions or feedback on teacher time in lieu at the moment. I'd love to hear from anyone, either by putting their hand up or popping in that they'd like to chat to us on chat. Just see if I can see anyone's hand up. I think at the moment it looks like we're okay. If something does pop up during chat, Dave Chitty, welcome, and you've got the floor. Thanks, Dave.
I think it's not only teacher time in lieu. I don't know about other groups, but
we haven't got your audio yet. I'm really sorry, Dave.
You got me there now?
I can hear you perfectly, David.
Okay.
It might be.
Looks like Melanie as well has lost sound.
Yeah. But we can hear each other.
Can you
I'll write a message in the chat. We can hear each other.
I think Melanie's going to type something into the chat for us.
Can anyone else hear me, or you can't hear me?
We can hear each other and you. Okay. Let's just see. Let's go again. Dave, let's go again, see if we can hear you.
So can you hear me now?
Apologies. Thank you, Dave.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Melanie.
The teacher time in lieu in Northeast Victoria, I mean, all schools we deal with, is only part of the thing. I think the biggest issue is the general cost of living. Schools having to spend more money on a lot of things. So I think there's a whole range of things that are going to impact schools. Certainly, I'm seeing schools cutting back or looking to cut back on the number of days on their camps generally. And I feel that teacher time in lieu will probably get solved in the short term, but or the medium term. But the problem of schools being able to afford to come out is really maybe some of those other things. Cost of living, for instance, or if we end up in a bit of a recession, we're in all sorts of trouble. So I think we probably need to look broadly.
Thanks, Dave. And I'll just quickly answer that a little bit to fill you in a bit further. Is we have been advocating continually with the Education Minister's office as well, as a department, around potentially what could be next, around quite a laser-focused concept around supporting disadvantaged students a little further than what currently happens with that sport camps and excursions fund. So we'll keep everyone tuned on that advocacy and keep you in the loop. Thanks, Dave. It's a good piece of insight. Melanie, sorry, go for it.
We've found the same thing pretty much throughout this year, that basically all the school camps are shortened, typically by 1 to 2 days. But we've had a flurry within the last few weeks of bookings for next year at our camps and caravan grounds, which is earlier than normal. And some of these are quite big bookings as well. So it's whether it's from the agreement and the continuation of the positive education program, but I've been surprised that we're getting them in so early, and I see it as actually a pretty positive trend our end on the Surf Coast. more schools seem to be coming down, and some of these haven't come down to us before as well. So whether if there's with the cost of fuel and buses, etc., if some of them are staying a little bit more to their region than going to the other end of the state, I'm unsure. But yeah, we're definitely actually seeing an increase in our school camps.
Yeah, thanks, Melody. Is that the schools booking directly, or is that a provider?
Yeah, so they do directly. We do have some providers, so like Southern Exposure and
Yes.
Binderina like can.
Yep.
But for schools, because we see them as a off-peak for us, so our caravan parks and campgrounds are all open to the public. We've got 7 or 8 all the way from Torquay through to Marengo. But for schools, because they're coming during the week, they get a better deal because they're filling up spaces during off-peak. And it's actually best for them to book straight through us because, of course, there's no extra commissions and the rest. And as part of their stay with us, they also get education programs from my environmental education team as an incentive. But we do our best to ensure we're not crossing over with any other outdoor providers. So we don't do all the action activities, as I call them. But if they want to know who our local supping, surfing and the rest are, we have all those providers' contacts that we promote and send through.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Melly. No, that's great to hear. Thank you. Okay, thanks. I might soldier on a little bit, and then we'll check back into chat. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Fantastic. We'll just get Andrea to give us an update and a refresh on this. Thank you.
Well, over the past year, Outdoors Victoria has been working in producing welcoming people who live with a physical disability into your outdoors program toolkit. So this is a resource that we've been working in partnership or along 20 plus organizations that work in the disability space or that have implemented successfully inclusion practices. So there's actually a couple of people in this group that have already participated and help us to either promote or create this resource. So thank you a lot. We were very happy to show this for the second time in our Outdoors Victoria conference about a month ago. And we want to just, spread out the word that this resource is available on our website for everyone to use. So please use it. We're going to share the link a little bit later on the chat. And so this toolkit is specifically targeted to all outdoor activity providers, outdoor education providers, in general, people that work in the outdoor sector. What we want is to facilitate for programs and services to be more inclusive. At this point, this toolkit was specifically targeted to people with physical disabilities, but there's some. We're potentially going to do this toolkit also for people with intellectual disabilities, which we will share a little bit more in the coming weeks. So yeah, just we will let you know more about that. That's going to be exciting to have the next little bit of work in this space. And yeah, please share it to anyone that could benefit from this. And if you have any questions also about this project or about inclusion in general in the outdoors, just pop it in the chat and I'll do my best to reply.
Thanks very much, Andrea. And yeah, definitely either pop your hand up now or pop yourself into chat to say you'd like to have a chat or a question to Andrea about that at any point in the next 20 minutes. So thank you. Thanks, Andrea. I might just head to the next one. Okay, so there has been a catch-up that we mentioned in the newsletter the start of August with anyone who's an affiliate, paid up affiliate supporter of ours, who's an outdoor activity provider around these come and try outdoors hubs. So there's going to be a lot more information, but it's basically a partnership with a health promotion agency, as well as Parks Victoria, around getting most of the time disadvantaged young people into the outdoors to try different activities. And so if you need to learn any more and you are a provider or you know of a provider who would be interested, it's not super lucrative at this stage for providers. It's more to be involved at this early point as this is a pilot. And we've got locations in the southeast of Melbourne, as well as the east of Melbourne, and also in the west of Melbourne, and then up across Ararat, Stawell, Garryword, Grampians area, because of some of the extra challenges up that way. So we'll provide a whole lot more information, but please get in contact with myself at the moment, and I'll pass you through to Andrea McGuckian, who's working in the OV team on that particular program. And a lot more to come, and we'll know as early as May, June next year how that particular pilot has gone. But it's a really fantastic initiative. So we'll pop my email and chat later on. Thanks very much, Andrea. Okay, so we also caught up with Minister Ingrid Stitt. We caught up with always working collaboration often, whether it's with ACA, CVA, or this time Bushwalking Victoria, which is one of the state activity peaks, and caught up with the Minister with Bushwalking Victoria's President, Robin Shingles, who's the new President of Bushwalking Victoria, for your information, and also their previous President, Mike. So that was fantastic to connect with Minister Stitt. She takes in both the environment portfolio across DECA and Parks Victoria, as well as the early years portfolio. So there's obviously quite a lot of work that we connect a whole bunch of our sector across into Bushkinder. And so it was great to be able to chat to Minister Stitt about that. There's a $3.6 million investment going into Bushkinder over the next couple of years to encourage the growth of up to an extra 150 Bushkinder programs. So if you need any further information on that, please reach to me at the end. You'll see my email at the end of this, and we can fill you in. Our major advocacy there from across with our work with a number of the different outdoor learning networks in that early years space was please use as much as possible of that 3.6 million in paying facilitators to get kids more active rather than paying for equipment. So that's the clear message we sent through to the Minister on that one. When it came to environment and her portfolios across PV and DECA, it was really about understanding where the Minister wants to head with those particular government agencies, and really good to understand that there's a very substantial interest in further investment in that part of government, and that's even illustrated by the announcement of the first ever Minister in a state for outdoor recreation. And so Minister Stitt will be working with Minister Kilkenny on that, and we've obviously been meeting with Minister Kilkenny as well. Yeah, very obviously encouraging for us to hear that, and we'll obviously be lending our voice to the support of a number of different organisations like Victoria National Parks Association around more substantial investments in Parks Victoria. If you look around the world at, let's say, the National Park Service in the US, they're usually investing about 1% of the government budget in that particular service, and it's one of the best in the world. We're at about 0.5%. So we've got a little way to go there. And it's really about continuing to pass through all the cabinet ministers of the investment that flows through with benefits right across preventative healthcare and all kinds of other economic benefits that investing in a more superior park service and DECA will provide for all of us. So a positive first meeting. I've already had another catch up with the Chief of Staff of Minister Ingrid Stitt as well. So really looking forward to working really quite closely with Minister Stitt into the future. Are there any particular queries around that catch up with the Minister?
I guess it's not a query, but just for those, I know it won't suit every organisation, but if you're part of the Bush Kinder programs, they're pretty fantastic. We offer to all of our local kinders, we offer like free sessions because they're usually only going maximum of an hour. It's getting kids physically to feel the earth, to play with it. It's very hands-on. But it's great to hear that there's going to be more funding for it, because I do know we have a lot of kinders throughout the area, but some don't engage or they're not confident to go outside. So we've got some who walk down to the beach with their kids, others aren't. So if there's money there to get other providers happy and ready to engage with that age group, for us, it's all about building stewardship from as early as possible, because I'll see these kids in primary school and then high school as well. But I think it's just a really brilliant avenue, and I think it is something that'll be around for a really long time. So if it fits in your business model, it's something worth contemplating. If you haven't thought kinder's not my primary thing. I've taught water chemistry to BCE students and then gone straight into kinder classes. But yeah, it's a great experience, and there's a call and a need in the industry for it.
Yeah, thanks very much, Melanie. It's great to hear. And I think if any of those organisations want a bit more support, there's support through the School Readiness Fund for any kindergarten to access, I think, up to $8,000 for support to transition to do more outdoor learning. That's usually every September they can apply for that on the school readiness menu from the DET. If they want to learn more about that, the Early Childhood Outdoor Learning Network, so ECON, ECOLN, they can help support, and they're actually on the school readiness menu to then roll out facilitators that can help that particular kindergarten do a whole lot more outdoor learning, which of course is a huge benefit to any providers on the call down the track, because when they're in primary and secondary school, they're the first to queue up to head off on camp or do outdoor activities. Thanks, Melanie. Mr. Chitty.
Yeah, just that would be good, because a committee that I'm on, a bush kindergarten principal, was saying that they're interviewing 60 people for 20 openings for 2024. So there's probably a much bigger demand for bush kindies and that type of early childhood stuff than there's actually positions.
You're right. No, exactly. Thanks, David. Yeah, and there's definitely a very concerted effort. One of our previous staff members, Rose Major, who was also on the committee of Econ, has actually called back to university to be able to help train, thousands of more kindergarten teachers that are needed. So yeah, there's definitely a huge opportunity in that space over the next couple of years. And then Megan's also mentioned in chat, bush kinders, we'd love to include some support funding for transport to and from bush kinder learning areas. For example, in Mansfield, the kinder kids are required to be dropped off and picked up at midday to be transported back to kinder after daycare, which is a prohibitor for parents that work. And I think that's where some of the smart investments over time should go, is just those particular time gaps in the day and the transport piece. So it's a good call out, and I'm going to have a chat to our friends at Econ about potentially what are some of those solutions that they're exploring, because I'm sure that they're also looking at that as well, and we can broadcast that out. So thanks very much, Megan, for calling that out. And I'll look into that again later on, and we'll see what we can do in our newsletter. I might just head to the next one. Okay, so just a reminder, Dave Chitty before is up in the Alpine area, and there's definitely still some snow about, and fingers crossed there's going to be a bit more. Not a whole lot in the backcountry at the moment, but definitely check on, and it can be quite an important thing when there's not a lot around. If you check on the Mountain Safety Collective website, there's the Backcountry Snow Condition Reports. That's a weather advisory service around avalanche risk, ice levels, and also exposure risk. So feel free to continue to use that. That has been seed funded by Parks Victoria and also Sport and Rec Victoria. Really, really important service after 2 young men lost their lives about 8 or 9 years ago around Bogon in the backcountry. So please head to Mountain Safety Collective's website. That's a really handy service throughout all of the snow season. Mr. Chitty.
There's also the resource of the severe weather guidance note, which has been updated we're not that long ago, and that's got quite a lot of backcountry, snow, avalanche advice in it, and also of course we're coming into the lightning season. We've got thunderstorms today sometime, so there's good advice on lightning and other things as we come into spring. So the severe weather guidance note, which I think there's a link on the Outdoors Victoria website.
Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, so if you hover up the top on our tabs, you'll see the Australian Adventure Activity Standard come up. And if you click on that, then you'll be able to scroll down when you get to that. And then there's a weather advisory note around that, extreme weather events and some of the controls that you can implement. So thanks, Dave, for reminding everyone of that. I might head to the next slide, Andrea. Thank you. Okay, so I was going to be having someone with us, but the V-Line service decided to not work quite as well as it usually does from Geelong today. So I'll give a quick update here. This is an initiative funded by the state government of Victoria, and it's basically around exploring innovative ways that to create new pathways into careers into the outdoors by producing some micro-credentials that are linked across to TAFE. And also about to be released are also some micro-credentials from Victoria University. They're actually going to be government funded under this particular program. So if you head to that particular website there, Outdoor Education Innovation Hub, there's still some vacancies for some particular complementary training from the TAFEs. There's 2 of them involved for micro-credentials of anyone that you know of that wants to join our sector, or for those of you who are in the sector, you might want to pass on to some colleagues who want to do a refresh, or maybe head towards, there's usually introductory level courses around some of the main activities, but then there's also a level 2 short course, and that's usually running for a couple of days. And usually for several $1,000s. They're currently free. So please head to that website and pass that to your colleagues as well. There's about to be, if not already launched on that website as well, some micro-credential training around executive boost programs for particular people in our sector that are looking as to next steps around HR management, planning, logistics, industrial regulations. So keep an eye on that particular site, and as the end, please pass this across to all your colleagues, because it's an amazing opportunity through to the 30th of April next year that there's going to be courses funded that would usually be fees required. They're then having Victoria University researchers evaluate each particular course and then look to upgrade those particular courses as they go on to improve them every time we do them over the next 8 or 9 months. And then there's also researchers going to be following every one of the several hundred that go through these particular courses to see what are some of the long-lasting results out of those micro-credentials, which is another way that they're exploring to have people join our sector or upgrade their skills who are with the sector. So please head to that particular site if you need any more information and connect with the team there. Outdoor Education Group is the group that's actually the principal funder, program managing this at the moment with a number of TAFEs and university, and we're on the working group. Thanks, Andrea. Also getting out and about at the 3 major Victorian careers expos. So last year we had an extra 48,000 eyes from the community across what we actually do. and that there are actually long-term viable careers in our sector. This year, there's been even more higher visitation to those 3 expos, that being the one on the east of Melbourne at Caulfield Racecourse, which is the oldest and largest in Australia, and then also in at Jeff's Shed, as well as across at the showgrounds on the west of Melbourne. So they run April, May and July. Again, a really fantastic initiative that we haven't been able to do until last year, and great to have over 100,000 eyes across our sector. We've chatted with a uniform brochure across universities, TAFEs, private RDOs, as well as the providers, to be able to chat to over 1,000 visitors each year to those particular expos individually. So that's a really great feeder, let's hope, into our sector directly, whether it's through traineeships directly into our particular businesses and organisations, or across into the TAFE, private RTO, OEIH, or into university. So thanks very much. There's some of us on the call that have assisted at those careers expos, because we have a number of wonderful people across the sector that actually help us out with those. So thanks to everyone for that. I might head to the next one. And this is just around our next catch-ups online. So pop those dates in your diary, and we'll continue to remind everyone in the newsletters as well, Andrea, and 10 o'clock start time. What we might do is, Andrea, we might just get Andrea to take those down now, so we can see everyone, and also Andrea will start thumping in some links into the chat. But if anyone's got any further questions, feedback of myself or Andrea, we'd love to hear from you now, either in the chat or take your mute off and have a chat to us.
How do you feel the work on the permit system review is going, Andrew?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So DECA, in partnership with Parks Vic and also GORCAPA, the Great Ocean Road Coast and Parks Authority, have been represented at the 4 forums across Vic, which invited all the 400 plus licensed tour operators together to learn and then help review the licensed tour operator permit system for being licensed to be able to operate on public land. So they've now finished those particular forums, and we had in a couple of newsletters the reminders about also inserting any feedback that anyone had directly in through their portal. So they're now collating all that feedback. We've obviously been at those forums as well to be able to gauge what the outdoor sector providers, and there's around about 80 to 90 of those 400 licensed tour operators that are connected to the outdoor recreation, outdoor education space. You know, the feedback really is this is a great opportunity over the next 20 months or so for us to be able to thoroughly explore what we can do with that particular system, but there hasn't been any real feedback back out of that, Dave, at this stage. There's a number of different ideas. One is that if the government really want strong and rigorous data, then the best way would be to either reduce the cost or have a flat fee for certain sized organisations, and then you'd make sure that every single organisation is reporting every single visitor to every single site. Because at the moment, of course, it's all reliant on organisations reporting incorrectly precisely what visitors are going where and when, and then are charged particular fees. So that was one particular idea. Another idea was looking at having a central coordination of the licensed tour operator permits. So rather than having a whole lot of different land managers, because some of the LGAs, so local governments, are actually now embarking upon permit systems as well. It can be quite challenging for different operators to understand what goes on. There is some benefit, of course, at the moment with Gore Kappa looking to go right across from Torquay all the way to Warrnambool by, I think it's June 30, 2025, which would make it a little more straightforward down that way. But there could be some challenges with some of the actual local government authorities getting going on permit systems. I know that I think Goulburn Ovens is having a crack at the moment. So that was one other piece of feedback, because we definitely don't want more red tape. We want it to be a lot more straightforward for licensed tour operators to intersect with government and work with government around this. Little bit of feedback, I think, has gone into around the fitness sector and personal trainers and how they're fed into the system. But I think if there's any further reflections from anyone that missed any of that review, please come back to me, because obviously we've got regular dialogue with DECA, as well as Parks Vic, as well as Gore Kappa as well. So hopefully that helped a little bit, Dave.
Yeah, the other land manager that probably needs to be dragged in there is the Alpine Resorts, now that they're a single agency. Because, for instance, if you get a permit to operate in an Alpine resort, they have no idea about things like adventure activity standards or anything. Yeah? So, having a permit there. And you did mention Murray Goulburn, because all of those big dams and reservoirs that many operators use, that's quite a big cost to. And again, they're not. They'll charge you $1,000 to go and use the reservoir and get the permit, but they don't require you to have any particular standards or meet any safety systems. So I guess that central thing is probably a value from a safety consistency, yeah, because otherwise we'll end up in trouble with WorkSafe somewhere along the line.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And that's another area that we're about to embark upon, having a chat to a number of different people at WorkSafe on, how much they understand about our particular sector. So it's something that will keep everyone informed across the next couple of catch-ups as well. But thanks for that feedback around ARV. So that's Alpine Resorts Victoria, which is the new body that oversees all the main resorts. Anything else we have?
No,
Andrea?
I put all the links in the chat now.
Oh, thank you. That's great. So Andrea's just let us know that if you jump into chat now and click on chat, there is now a whole lot of different links in there of different pieces of information. So around the highlights video, around the disability inclusion in the outdoors toolkit, there's a link in there as well. And as we said, we'll keep you updated on the next iteration, which we hope to get funding for, which is around working with people living with intellectual disabilities. Andrea has also popped her email in there as well. So if you need to learn anything more about the Disability Toolkit, please reach to Andrea there as well. The Come and Try Hubs activation, that's fantastic. We've got Andrew McGuckian's email in there as well. So you can reach directly and pass those, please, through to your colleagues if anyone does want to learn more about that, because that's rather exciting. Backcountry condition reports for the Alpine area in winter. That's the link across at Mountain Safety Collective. So you might want to be copying and pasting a heck of a lot of these links right now into your emails or something, so that you can use them later on. And then there's also that link around the complementary training, micro-credential training. Thanks for the claps, Melanie, as well. Glad that we can be of help. And then also, if you want to learn anything more about being part of, or want to have another idea around careers expos, please send through to another Andrew Gooday at careerscoordinator at outdoorsvictoria.org.au any particular requests for help there. We kindly had Dave Chitty head out to Wodonga High with a lot of our paraphernalia that we take to the expos. So I might even just quickly touch with Dave in a minute on how that went, because we really do want to reach our tentacles out right across Victoria to different young people to learn more about careers in the outdoors. And then also there's the next online forum registration here. So again, could be great for your colleagues if they've missed out today, to be able to pass it on to them so they can register for the next, is that the next one or the next couple, Andrea?
This is for the next one.
That's the next one.
Tuesday, October 24th.
Tuesday, October 24th at 10 o'clock.
Put the link for the next one.
Oh, awesome. Right. So Andrea is also going to put in the chat, for the next one after that, which is the 5th of December as well. I'm just going to see that we might I'll go ladies first. So we'll go to Melanie first, and then we'll go to Dave to give us a bit of an update how that careers promotion went. Go for it, Melanie.
Hi, so just anyone any providers here who might be on the coast, Coast Care Victoria, I think they celebrate 30 years this summer, and they did put out a call a few weeks ago to support the promotion of providers to deliver sessions on their behalf, looking at the theme of marine and coastal environments and engagement. So I can post a bit of a version of the email through in the chat. But yes, if there's anyone anywhere in Victoria that is coastal based, again, I've discussed this with Shay at our end, and we don't have capacity whatsoever because we already do a lot over summer. It's a good opportunity. You fill out a form, they'll double check your ticking and crossing what they need, and they'll actually be able to promote stuff. So even if you already do things over summer, if you can link it with their themes, it's a good way to get some mass promotion of what's going on.
Perfect. And I think what we might do is we might get Andrea to insert that, if you're okay, with a bit of context, Melanie, into the next newsletter in early September.
Too easy. I'll forward the email through that's got all the official invite done. Yeah,
great. Thank you. And then Simon Hastings from Geelong says that he'll be all over that. So thanks, Melanie.
It'd just be interesting to learn more about it. That's all. It'd be great to have a link and understand a bit more about what that's.
And look, they actually have a professional development day coming up in Geelong as well. Other coast cares may be around the state, and that's unpacking some of the resources they've made online that providers can access and all the rest. So I'll shoot through some emails through to Andrea, but feel free if anyone needs my contact and wants it set to them, because I think applications close, I want to say the 4th of September.
Great. Thanks,
Thanks very much. Dave, we might go to you, and then I'll just double check chat as well.
Two things. The Careers Expo with the Wodonga Senior Secondary College was quite good. It was a huge thing with the Fence Force having 4 or 5 stands. So with about nearly 100 exhibitors. So it was a lot bigger than I expected it to be quite honest. The interesting thing I thought was that I had quite a number of students come and talk to me. But one of the things that I became aware of is the teachers themselves, even the professional development teachers, didn't seem to have much awareness of opportunities within the outdoor industry, even in the simple side of it, outdoor education. Some of them knew about outdoor education, but didn't realise there was more than that. And many didn't understand, of course, the broad side of it. So perhaps what we need to do is also develop some processes for dealing with the teachers, because these days teachers actually see kids more than parents do. With the busyness of So the career development ones within the schools and the regional systems are obviously an easy target, but I think also educating every teacher over time, so that when they're dealing with little Johnny or little Jilly who's not particularly academic, say, hold on, have you thought of a job in the outdoor industry which might lead you either to be an outdoor leader, or perhaps lead you into mining or defence, or as a pathway to other types of things. So I think there's some opportunities there.
And we're definitely taking that feedback on, Dave, from you. So we're going to be presenting at probably one of the largest sort of outdoors conferences in Victoria soon. It's it's the largest one in Australia, which is for physical education teachers. So it's November 23 and November 24 for anyone. It's the ASPA Victoria conference. So there's a couple of thousand health and physical education teachers that come along to that, and a whole associated bunch of teachers as well. So there's often a lot of VCE, outdoor environmental studies teachers there too. And we're actually going to, for the first time, present on careers in the outdoors, so that we can get thousands of ambassadors in each school, that you don't have to bump into your careers advisor, because we've been reaching into those, the Career Education Association of Victoria as well, to be able to get careers advisors to talk about and showcase the roles, but also all those health and phys ed teachers as well, to make sure they understand not just outdoor education, but the wide variety of roles across outdoor providers and camp operators as well, that reach into the environmental science area as well. So great call out, Dave. And yeah, I'm glad that we're on the front foot, able to start that process, and we'll continue to look at other ways of how we do that. That Careers Association is also has reached into the Department of Education to make sure we're on particular careers portals as a sector, which again is the first time for us. So we're gaining a bit of traction there, which is great, and hopefully a whole lot more understanding over the next couple of years.
I've just got one more thing, mate. Yeah.
Yep, go for it.
A customer I took snowshoeing actually was working with the CSIRO and told me about a new paint, a fireproof paint that's been developed by the CSIRO, working with a lot of other private industry. And they're also talking to the insurance sector, evidently, and they're hoping that this fireproof paint will solve the problems of not being able to get insurance or unaffordable insurance in high-risk fire areas. So a lot of our camps, and particularly the alpine resorts, for instance, have got that problem. So I've got to do a bit of research on it and find out that it's evidently coming onto the market. And supposedly, if you have your steel window shutters, and your gutter guards and everything, and then you paint with this paint, it actually provides a much higher level of protection than can be obtained in other ways. Yeah. So that might be something we need to have a bit of a look at. Yeah. So anyone that has buildings that they have problems with, have a bit of a fish around, and we'll see if we can find out what they're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. That's amazing, Dave. We'll definitely keep everyone informed of that. Let us know straight away, and we'll pop something in the newsletter as things come to hand on that, because that's very exciting. And great to see too that Megan's popped in the actual initials of ASPA. So if anyone wants to come along to that conference, they can explore the options there on the ASPA Victoria website. Just type in those initials, and I'm sure that'll come up. But I think we've gone over time, which is wonderful, but we better let all of you go. But hopefully all those links were really handy, and lovely to see everyone. And thanks, Andrea, for all your help today as well, as usual. Okay, everyone, have a fantastic week, and not long until the school holidays. Okay.
Bye.
Everyone.
Thanks.
All the best.
See ya.